And Free Speech Fridays is brought to you by the Free Speech Union. You can visit them at fsu.nz. The Free Speech Union protects freedom of speech in New Zealand through advocacy, through highlighting cases when the free speech of individuals or groups has been constrained. It will take your case to court if it needs to. It will stand by you, and it will literally fight, the Free Speech Union, for your right to say what you believe in this country. They fight against hate speech. They fight against Orwellian repression. They are a great organisation. I recommend them to you. The Free Speech Union, fsu.nz. Now, one of our participants this morning is an Auckland City Councillor, and ironically he's stuck in traffic, so he'll join us in a minute or two. That is Maurice Williamson. Our other participant, and I got the old gang back together today because I've been away for a week or two and I wanted to reconnect with my whānau, is Williamson Alistair Boyce from the Backbencher pub, who I saw on Monday and maybe raised a pint with. Thank you very much for that, Boyce, at the Backbencher Tavern. Geez, what a week, Boyce.
Yeah, I know. So it was almost exhausting. I mean, it was a bit of a gauntlet, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And I don't want to name names. There were a few National Party backbenchers on Monday afternoon. Oh, by the way, I found my car keys.
Oh, you did?
Yes,
good man.
Goodness for that. But they seem to be quite buoyed up by the attitude of Chris Luxon at that press conference on Monday in taking a stand on the Benjamin Doyle issue and on pronouns. It seemed like we had a new Prime Minister.
Yeah, well, it's a hell of a lot better and a hell of a lot stronger than what we've seen to date, and hopefully it's a sign of things to come. This government's really got to get hold of the nation and where we're going and how we're getting there, and it's got to put a stop to a lot of this peripheral revolutionary talk and unnecessary sort of conjecture and everything else around both the Māori Party and the Greens.
Yeah, okay. Can I look? I'm just actually sending, because I didn't send you guys any topics, which is just me being a one-man band at the moment. Do you think it's a genuine change from Luxon? Do you think he's finally read the room?
Too soon to tell, because we've seen nothing from him as yet on culture issues or treaty issues. He just runs for the hills. So this time he absolutely did the right thing. I mean, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, sometimes it is a duck, you know. And this particular topic that Winston's brought to the fore, and rightfully so, I think it's pretty black and white. I think the shades are grey until Doyle comes out and offers some sort of explanation for his behaviour and his justification for the things he's saying and how he's saying it. I think there needs to be a strong line in the sand.
Are you not convinced by Chloe's wide-eyed, some would say crazy-eyed contention that this is just terrible homophobia against the queer community, who have an entirely different way of jokingly talking about sex with children that just us straight cis white males don't understand?
I don't fall for that at all. It's just another version of cancel culture. Because we're told we don't understand, we shouldn't say anything. Now, Sean, can I give you the green checklist and political playbook for this? Number one, shoot the messenger. Always shoot the messenger. So it's all Winston's fault. Get that right. Number two, gaslight it. There is nothing to see here. There is nothing wrong with this sort of behaviour. Number three, play the victim. Introduce some death threats. That's always a good one to play. Number four, you yell out, "Daddy, help me. I got caught up with some really bad people. I'm at the police station. Can you get me out of this?" That's the call to Luxon.
Yeah,
that's right. And number five is throw the whole rainbow community under the bus and say, you're all part of the same broom. Everyone's in on this together. Yeah. Which is an absolute crock. The I think it's quite clear that a lot of the gay community are mortified at this being lumped in with Bible Belt bussy.
Yeah, and Luxon was just not having a bar of this is I've got to have a talk to Winston Peters, was he? He just slapped that back straight away.
He needed to. Like, this is not an issue. What they try to do is normalise behaviour, okay? So let's go back in history a bit. Jimmy Savile, running around in the open, abusing and exploiting children, kids, vulnerable kids, obvious pedophile. Michael Jackson used to display all these children on his bed, right out in the open. So they try and normalise the behaviour. They try to encourage an environment to allow this sort of behaviour to become acceptable. It is totally unacceptable.
Yeah, but hang on. I want to make it very clear, Alistair, we are not accusing, are we, Benjamin Doyle of doing anything illegal?
No, he's got to come out and explain what he's saying in these posts. I had the unfortunate situation where I have seen a dossier, and it was incredibly confronting, and I often felt nauseous, and it took me a long time to read it because I had to keep stopping. And it chronicles some form of running a gauntlet of evil and good. There's all sorts of very strange.
Well, we're talking to the person who provided you with that dossier, who will be known as Holly Hecker after the news at 9 o'clock this morning here on the platform. Yeah, and I know the dossier of which you speak, which indeed was the information that said all this. Look, we're still waiting for Maurice, but you're doing quite well holding up your end as we go. Caught in traffic, he said, Boyce, caught in traffic.
Well, Auckland traffic, yeah.
And he's now locked himself out of his office at the Central. Hey, look, but while you're here, are you on X?
No.
Oh, okay. You can't vote in my poll then, because
I would have voted in the affirmative for you. Yeah.
Or that school students under 16 be prohibited from changing the gender in the classroom playground. Are you going to charge a tariff, Boise, on Americans drinking in your pub?
No.
Why can't you charge people with an American accent an extra 10%? It's unfair. It makes no sense. But if they can do it to us, can't we do it to them?
This sounds like another form of identity politics. How do you know if they've got an American accent? Are you good enough to know exactly where they're from and what they believe? And you can't lump all Americans in with the tariff. Yeah. They might be Canadian. They might have a different viewpoint. They might have been a ardent Democrat, I'm not that upset about it. Trump will do what Trump will do, and then the world has to adjust. They voted him in. It's democracy in action. And it's pretty exciting, but New Zealand's just been through a massive recession when we're still in one. I reckon there's swings and roundabouts with this one, and there'll be winners and losers, and it's very disruptive to world trade and world economics, and translates into the microeconomies of countries. But it will result in winners and losers.
All right, but you're not losing too much sleep about it. Your business is dodgy enough as it is, right, Alistair?
I'm trying to run hospitality businesses in Wellington is a nightmare, I tell you. It's an absolute nightmare. And then they cut you off with cycleways, and you can lose 30% of your trade overnight, and they don't care. Yeah.
All right. Well, look, he joins us now, stuck in the traffic of his own making, his city's own making. Maurice Williamson, lovely to have you with us. I'm sorry, my friend, I didn't get you a list of topics, but I think they are self-evident. I've just been talking.
I think there's a few self-evident ones, yeah. Look, Auckland is just
Doyle,
getting absolutely
Could you believe that, the Benjamin Doyle story and the Greens' attempt to spin their way out of it this week, Maurice?
No, I mean, look, let's get it clear. I remember a Green Party that was really worried about the environment, about emissions. I didn't agree with them, but I got on with Rod Donald and put Simon reasonably well. Great people. Rod had a great sense of humour. What you've got there now are not Greens in any fashion whatsoever. They are watermelons, completely green on the outside and stark raving red in the centre, and believe in every sort of lunatic stuff that's going on. I just hope the doctors' wives of Karori and Kandala, who heavily voted for this Tamitha Paul woman, really think a little bit about that vote. Did they really do the right thing? And hopefully they will this time round.
Do the gay people you know, Maurice, and you're famous for giving a speech that really gave a lovely support to our gay and homosexual community during the marriage debate.
Everybody I know in the rainbow community, and there's quite a lot of people I talk to and have phoned me up, they just don't want a bar of any of this stuff.
Because basically, didn't they? Chloe was saying, look, if you're gay, we're much more tolerant of making jokes about having sex with children.
No, that's basically what she said.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that the gay community that I know are sensible people who prefer to have somebody of their same gender as their partner, but otherwise think that sort of stuff is disgraceful, disgusting, and I agree with them wholeheartedly.
What happens now, though? He's been sent on leave. He was posting yesterday on Trans Day of Awareness and saying Free Palestine, the bloody moron.
I know.
What happens next? Or do
Well,
the Greens just sit
like.
there and this goes away?
What I thought last night, I'd love a spreadsheet and add up all of the time off that Darlene Tana and then Golriz Garriman and then this guy and there was two others. There was Elizabeth Takiri, and they've had about 5 or 6 go off the rails. And if you added up the time they've all been off, but on full pay, the poor old taxpayer has been paying a bloody fortune for misfit lunatics that really just shouldn't be in our parliament.
Well, can Parliament ask for any more explanation of Benjamin Doyle, or do they just, stiff-neck the thing and carry on?
I'm disappointed I'll tell you what, I'm disappointed in the Parliament. It just seems to have lost all standards. I got thrown out only once in 30 years, and that's because I didn't wear a tie on Wellington's tireless day.
Those were the days. Those were the days, Maurice.
I came back from the downtown Rotary Club, and it was tireless day in Wellington, and they said, come on, Minister, get into the swing. So I took my tie off, put it on the chair behind, ate my lunch.
Who was the speaker?
Robin Gray. And he says, the Minister will leave right now. I said, this is ridiculous.
You're kidding there, not wear a tie, lad.
That's exactly what he said. So I said, this is going to go down in history as an orchestrated litany of ties.
Jeez, Alistair, can you... Isn't that...
And now you want to look at it, there looks like a group of unmade beds sitting in the corner.
And now, Alistair, if Maurice was pinged for not wearing a tie now, he'd hire a QC and he'd get Chris Finlayson in to say that's against the treaty in tikanga, wouldn't he?
Well, that's right.
All right.
Let me give. I just saw one more quick question on that. If you're a Maori playing for the Warriors, say, in the rugby league, and you get sanctioned by the referee and sent to the judiciary, guess what happens to you if you said, I'm not going?
Well, you get tried and named censure, I presume.
And you're gone. No, from what I understand, you won't come before the judiciary, you don't play, you're gone.
Yeah.
And yet these guys get called before the Privileges Committee. I've never been called before the Privileges Committee, so I don't know what it's about, but I know I was always scared stiff. If you did, you were in trouble. They get called before it, and they take the attitude, well, we're Maori, we don't have to go before that. Try being the Maori in the rugby league or rugby or any other sporting code and telling the judicial committee of that particular code, well, we're just not coming.
All right, well, let's get into this a bit further. We better take the break now that you're with us, Maurice. You're with Free Speech Fridays, brought to you by the FSU, the Free Speech Union, fsu.nz, the champions of free speech in New Zealand.